So this is over at the Omdal residence, and we had done a bid for them maybe back in 2011, and I'm going based off of the measurements that Steve had for this. And I'm just going to kind of walk through what we've got here based on Steve measurements and a few changes that are actually happening here. So first of all, we're talking about the front entrance here. So everything looks about right for what we've got right here. The one difference is that right now we have this walkway, this step that's going parallel to the house. So it's coming off kind of at an angle from the sidewalk. Well, one of the options is to put pillars on the corner of the walls here, and because it's at an angle, we can't really do a nice looking pillar here. So we're actually going to straighten these out so that way it's parallel to the sidewalk. So they're going to get moved over just a little bit, and we are going to straighten them out so that way they're a little more. So, like I said, so that way they're perpendicular to the sidewalk right here. That being said, we're also going to have to remove this pad and install a pad in the same place that we have over here. So let's see here, what do we got? It's 5 feet wide by 6 feet deep. So a 5 by 6, I don't recall if they said, I think bluestone is what we're using as the treads. So just gonna move it over and put a 5 by 6 pad over to the side right here. Window wells, we're still gonna keep it as whatever. For what we have bid, those haven't changed. We're still doing a wall over to the right over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 30. Let's call it a 36. All right. So the one difference is, so we got a wall that's to the right of the steps here, and Steve had it at 15 feet long, 28 inches high. Let's actually do it 36 inches high as opposed to 28, because that will get us even with the grade at the top of the landing right there, and it's just going to come around the side over here. So one of the biggest changes that we have on this is the walls here. So we're actually going to bid to level off this significantly more. So Steve had this bid as a 28-inch tall wall. Currently it's, I want to say 20 inches or 22 inches. We're going to bid this as a 2-tier retaining wall system. So they actually walked over to Eisenberg's and talked to Nick and saw theirs, and they really loved how that looked. So we're going to make this a 4 feet total height at the tallest point over here. Actually, the tallest point would probably be over there. Let's make it, so let's see, it's a 4 feet right here, and that's probably 6. So let's make it 30 inches at the far side down here, and then 24 inches right here, and then whatever it ends up being over there, we'll have to draw strings and make sure, but that seems about right. It's just a little bit taller than what it is, so it'll give it a little bit more height over there. But then that back wall is going to be 24 inches tall to meet up the rest of the way. Now, I've got a couple of trees that we have in the way, and we have to come up with some way of getting around those. Whether that's as it comes in here to kind of curve it around and to kind of meet up and then come back around, I'm not quite sure. I might have to talk to Nick about that, about what the best option is. I don't want to necessarily put a 4-foot wall in front of the trees because we're going to bury its root system. I'm not quite sure. So the place I'm kind of getting my 4 feet from is where the highest part of the grass is. So not this plastic, but the grass here. And then we're going to actually, we'll obviously have to backfill and get it into the right. But there's not a lot of cutting out that's going to have to happen. So like I said, it's 4 feet total height. In the corner here, it's probably closer to 36 inches over on that far side. If you do 4 feet, 2 2-foot tiers as a whole, I think that's going to be that's going to probably be the closest number that we can come up with without drawing strings and getting out all sorts of craziness. So let's see. Fond du Lac and Chilton is what we're going to use for the wall stone. I know that we had other colors in there. I showed them the Fond du Lac and Chilton wall the portfolio, and they really like that. So why don't you do Fond du Lac and Chilton, and just for safety, go ahead and for pricing purposes, add 10% of another accent color. That doesn't necessarily mean that we have to use it, but that way if they want to add it, it's not an additional cost for it. So let's see, what else have we got here? So in the backyard, this is the stuff that we're doing back here is a wall. So they're adding a porch onto the front of their house over on the opposite side that I'm currently on. And we're going to need to deconstruct that wall. And I said that we would see if we can't salvage some of that stone. But it's got a lot of cement on it, and it's probably going to be better for us to just use fresh stone than to try and clean it off. I said we'd try, but chances are we won't be able to. So what we've got right here is this timber wall that goes from the stone wall. This timber wall goes just beyond that fence, maybe 10 feet. So we're bidding to take out this timber wall and to excavate it a little further back and to add a stone wall back here. Let me just see what we've got back here. Retaining wall, remove. Replace wall, 42 feet long, remove 4 bushes, yep, that's still there. Excavate to widen by 32 inches. So we're digging this back 32 additional inches from what it is. So the problem is that they have air conditioning units right here. So they can't get through. So excavating and putting it back, 32 inches is an ambiguous number. Install new section of walk. So I guess we bid to do a new section of walk, I would guess out of brick. So this is, they've got some drain tiles in here, and they've got asphalt on the far side. Sherry, I'm not quite sure what you were proposing to replace this with. And we can't just replace it. We have to kind of do the whole thing because it's all over the place. So this, I would highly suggest, I mean, this is falling apart something fierce. I would suggest we take out all the pavers and all the asphalt and put in pavers, brick pavers, not dissimilar to what is already here, but just do it correctly. Like, do it so that way it's not all over the place. If we're going to make it 32 inches wider, that makes the most amount of sense to do that anyway. So, yeah, that's what I would suggest for this. So that's going to increase the price of this backyard pretty significantly. So, let's see, front wall patterned pillar caps or limestone, that all makes sense. Steps, steps at lot line. I didn't see that. We didn't talk about any steps at the lot line at this point. Sherry, you and I can talk about that. I think that would probably be over on the far side, but we never got around to that. And if they're doing a tiered wall, we don't need to do that. Hang on. I'm just looking to make sure that there's nothing. I want to make sure that I have everything talked through here for Nick as well. Front pattern walk, patterned, good. Indiana blue or pattern bluestone. Yep, that sounds good. So, yeah, that's I think all that we've got that's different. So we'll just have to update the pricing for the material costs, etc. So.